This is Business Morning, Thursday, June the 13th. Welcome, everyone, back to the world of business and markets. Nigeria's businesses and markets are reopened for today. I am Bosin Amafai. Let's get the show started. President Muhammadu Buhari formally begins his second term of 4 years in the 9th National Assembly, inaugurated with the top principal officers in place this week. Today's Thursday, so we've seen a lot more from Abuja, the country's political capital, since the week started. So, the big question, where is President Buhari's cabinet of ministers that will drive his Democracy Day promises of a prosperous nation that will lift 100 million people out of poverty over the next 10 years? And that's the big question we're putting out to everyone this morning, as we now have the executive branch fully settled in office and the legislature also in place. So, the next item on the agenda is the cabinet, and we're looking at the president to make those decisions public in the next couple of days. So, while the old Democracy Day and all the public holidays was going on, Nigeria's foreign exchange policy and market was in sharp focus during the holiday. The central bank reaffirming on Wednesday that there's no plan to float the naira or change the country's current exchange rate structure. So as the oil markets are reopening today, we put our eyes on the currency market and the naira-dollar rate at the interbank and the I&E FX window. Within the hour, we'll be talking to at least one of the FX dealers to bring us up to speed. Where is the FX market this morning as we reopen for business and done and dusted at the political front? And one big story across the West Coast, of course, where all major players on the African continent, political and policy, business and market leaders are sitting together is in Malabo, the Equatorial Guinea capital, for the 2019 annual meetings of the AfDB group. And yesterday, the formal opening, the president of the AfDB, Akumi Adesina, brought everyone to speed on what has been achieved via the new Visa Openness Index for the continent. Says we've achieved about 25% openness so far since this new initiative was launched last year. That's good, but we need to do more in terms of trade and integration. That's the key focus of this year's annual meetings. By the way, Temple Ashaju, our business correspondent, has given us some updates this morning, bright and early, same time zone. Temple, good morning. Welcome here to the program. Bring us up to speed on the last, yesterday was a big day, as it were, for the program over there. Yes.
Yes, correct. We had some 4 African leaders attended the meeting yesterday. You got the host country, the president of Equatorial Guinea, Mr. Mbasogo, in attendance. You had the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo also in attendance, and of course the prime minister of Eswatini and the king of Lesotho, all here attending the meeting, and they deliberated seriously on these issues of African integration. How do they facilitate intra-African trade across landlocked little countries that you have, especially in West Africa here, the possibility of making goods and services and of course people, movements, making that possible free of charge with the removal of all of the unnecessary barriers that we have. That was basically the discussion here yesterday, and it really garnered a lot of attention. Eventually, you hinted about the Visa Openness Index of the AfDB, something that is being sponsored by the AfDB as well, which Dr. Akumi Adesina talked about. And he raised the fact that there are 51 more countries, 51% of African countries are yet to be open to trade. It's only 24% of African countries that have made visa on arrival possible right now for business. And that is something that he sees requiring more attention, more work, more efforts that has to be intensified to facilitate economic integration in the region, Bosun.
Yes, we need that. There were also talks about infrastructure. You had a chit chat a little bit for a few minutes with our own Okwanachi, who is the managing director and chief executive officer of our Development Bank of Nigeria. What did you hear from him and a few other Nigerian delegates attending this very important annual meeting?
So for him, it's the fact that Nigeria launched the DBN just 2 years ago. In fact, they got nominated here for the Bankers Award, but they didn't win eventually. He's really bullish and hoping that they will win, possibly next year or some other time. The point for him here is that Nigeria is doing a whole lot around SME financing. And of course, it is something that these meetings here, sessions here, offers them opportunity to be able to tap into the opportunities that exist in intra-African trade. Again, given the fact that the AfDB is really funding lots of road infrastructure, the Belt and Road Initiative and all that, the Ebonyi Ring Road that is expected to connect Cameroon and links a few other landlocked African countries, and of course the Lagos-Abidjan Road. Those are things that they are looking to tap into, opportunities they're looking to tap into as a Development Bank of Nigeria, so they can finance the informal businesses that will be participating more and taking advantage of all of these opportunities when these whole visions become realistic, Bosun.
Okay, Temple, thank you so much. Enjoy the meetings. I understand from the images it's taken by the seaside, so you got a bit of a sea breeze. You enjoy the tourism there, and perhaps you learn a few of the language there. It's a Lusophone country, so add a little bit of to your English, a bit of French, then you get a bit of a Lusophone to that. By the time we come back, we'll be checking with you if you have a bit of what you called language integration.
Gracias.
Gracias. Yes, okay. What language was that? I'm going to ask someone here in the studio in the next couple of minutes. Meantime, let's come back to the big story. So while all the political leaders and who's who were in Abuja yesterday for Democracy Day, and a few, of course, across the country, Lagos also had a very big show downtown, but the shareholders of Owando Nigeria PLC held a press briefing expressing their dissatisfaction or unhappiness with the way the Securities and Exchange Commission has intervened in the affairs of the troubled energy trader. Let's take a listen to some of these shareholders. Of course, they represent various shareholder groupings, some a bit large, some are minority shareholders, and they say they're a little bit unhappy with the regulator. Let's take a listen to that, bringing you up to speed.
We, the minority shareholders of Owando PLC, categorically state our utmost displeasure and disappointment at the Securities and Exchange Commission's current management of the investigation into Owando PLC. The actions over the last 2 years, and especially the last 10 days, has shown that our voices as minority shareholders are not being listened to. SEC, a regulator that is supposed to protect the market, and in particular with the minority shareholders, they have a duty to care for us first and foremost. Their actions in the Owando case has neither protected us nor shown a duty of care. From the 6-month suspension in trading of Owando's shares to a 2-year investigation into the company, all have eroded value on our investments. The recent suspension of Owando PLC's AGM has brought us together again. It is the second time in 3 years that SEC has tried to suspend Owando PLC's AGM. We condemn in absolute terms the way and manner chosen by SEC in announcing the cancellation of the AGM on the eve of the event, despite having ample time to do same. We have shareholders who have come from all over the country, and it is therefore disappointing and disheartening to think that SEC did not think it worthy to consider us, the esteemed shareholders, when determining when to notify the general public on the suspension of the AGM. What kind of regulator disregards the shareholders it is supposed to protect? Because protection of shareholders' rights is the primary duty of the Securities and Exchange Commission. We ask why the AGM was suspended. Why was it done at short notice? Did they think about shareholders who have traveled from all over the country to be here? We challenge the Securities and Exchange Commission to tell us how this last-minute suspension of the AGM is in our best interest.
Before any AGM takes place, regulator, which is SEC, must approve that AGM. So why don't allow the AGM to go ahead as planned, as a given approved by the same SEC? Because when the court, which Owando have gone ahead to challenge SEC action, that means status quo remain, maintain the peace. So the question we're asking today, the 2018 financial year have nothing to do with the subject matter. Because what your forensic audit you are relied upon is the previous years you audited. It is not in 2018. So 2018 account must be presented and discussed by the AGM of shareholders of the company. And that is why they are not what are printed, the hotel venue, which is Eco Hotel, were paid for. And who is going to refund those monies? The logistics put in place, who is going to refund them to shareholders? So we are saying that SEC in reckless manner shouldn't have present and done what it did. It's not in line. Because we're talking about today democracy. And if we are practicing democracy, rule of law should be prevailed. That's the essence of democracy we're talking about. Rule of law. And when there's no rule of law, that will also make foreigners jettison with our economy. They cannot come invest where there's lawlessness in the land. I mean, that is why we know we minority shareholders, comprising of the shareholders association, are saying no. Even if you are regulating, you need to follow due process in regulating what you are doing. Otherwise, we are talking about foreign direct investment. They will not come. They will not come. So you can go ahead and discuss the affairs that matter. The board, in their own wisdom and integrity, will say, look, shareholder, don't make any comment, because some of the actions are pre-sub judice. They're in the court. So we're just telling you to discuss all the financials being presented to you.
Shareholders, we have lost a lot in the capital market today. That is why we are calling on the Securities and Exchange Commission to temper justice. Of course, we've lost a lot, especially in the banking sector. And what SEC is doing today is like adding salt to our injuries. Many of us here, you can see, we are not money bag. We have 1,500. We use our hard-earned money to invest in all these companies. Look at what happened in the banking sector. So far, for the past 7 years or 8 years, we've lost almost 7 or 8 banks. Where is AfriBank today? We don't have any investment there. Recently, Skybank is gone. So that's why we are calling on SEC. They should please let our handle remain. We want returns on our investments. The way they are going, if today Ohando ceased to be a company, of course, SEC has nothing to lose, but we minority shareholders, we are going to lose. So we are just using this opportunity to appeal to SEC to let Ohando be.
The government, please pay more attention to the economy of this country. What do I mean by that? This is SEC for going to 4 years, no board constituted. Not only that, we have a director general that is acting. Who are the people that are even giving these orders, these instructions? It's suspect. And talking at this forum, the best we can do is just to appeal to government, especially this new coming, that they should pay more attention to the economy of this country.